At the end of his day in court, Donald Trump delivered pizza to New York City firefighters. You got to watch this. Roll it. You know, they really liked him, and he looked presidential. He's a man of the people. He can work a crowd real well. Sean Duffy on the right-hand side of the screen. Sean, you had Biden reading off a teleprompter yesterday, totally scripted, and up comes Trump mixing it up with a very enthusiastic crowd. What a contrast, Sean.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Stuart, in your open, which is if we want to look at who looks more presidential, the guy that's out there old but still razzling and dazzling, shaking hands, shaking and baking, or the guy that can barely read the teleprompter, and the candidate who's actually leading the country, talking about the issues and the solutions that people face, versus the guy that's waffling and hiding in the Oval Office. Something else is happening here too, Stuart. So the media has a narrative, how bad Donald Trump is, how many people hate him, how horrible the guy is. But now that Donald Trump is stuck in New York City, the bastion of liberalism, and he goes to the bodega, or he goes and sees the construction workers, or the video you're rolling right now, he's going to see the firefighters, they love him. They can't get enough of him. This isn't supposed to happen in New York City, Stuart.
Right.
They're supposed to hate him there. And if Donald Trump can go into the belly of the beast and get the love in the crowds like he gets, it's wrecking the liberal media's narrative about Donald Trump. And they're covering a lot of the stuff that comes out of the courtroom. When Donald Trump speaks, they're covering this stuff. People are seeing it on social media. Yeah. So you can't drive a narrative that's contrary to what everyone's seen in reality.
It's what people see. Look, we've got this Gallup poll, actually. A good poll, solid. The poll shows that inflation is still the top financial issue, and it's by a wide margin. OK, we got that. But what about Biden's weakness and poor performance, his age, and the contrast with Trump? Sean, I think that may now be becoming the top issue. Apart from inflation and the economy, it's the appearance of being presidential and able to handle the job. Surely that's top of voters' minds at the moment.
Well, because we live in a dangerous world, Stuart. I mean, if you look at all the things that are happening overseas, whether it's Ukraine or the Middle East, the southern border, I mean, people are unsettled with everything that's happening, and they want true leadership right now, and they're not getting it from Joe Biden. Just one point on the polls. You look at the numbers and what people care about and how Donald Trump performs so much better on those issues. And it begs the question, Donald Trump should be running away with this race. But you look, these are the same numbers that work in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. The economy and the inflation are #1 issues, and they're neck and neck. It begs the question, what's happening here? What is it about Donald Trump that voters aren't coming to him, even though he wins on the issues that they care about?
Got it. It's all good stuff. And we'll be sure to watch you on The Bottom Line, weekdays, 6 p.m. Eastern here on Fox Business. Thanks, Sean. See you later.